President Biden held a ceremony Monday evening to remember the more than 500,000 Americans who have died from the coronavirus. Earlier in the day, the president announced changes to a federal aid program for small businesses impacted by the pandemic. Natalie Brand is at the White House with the details.
A moment of silence at the White House, where the president and vice president held a candle lighting ceremony to mark the grim milestone of 500,000 lives lost to the pandemic in the U.S.
That's more Americans who have died in 1 year in this pandemic than in World War I, World War II, and the Vietnam War combined. Remember those we lost and those who left behind. But as we all remember, I also ask us to act.
The bells tolled 500 times at the National Cathedral in Washington.
To address the ongoing economic fallout of COVID, President Biden announced several changes to the Paycheck Protection Program to try and help small businesses that are still struggling.
When the Paycheck Protection Program was passed, a lot of these mom and pop businesses got muscled out of the way.
Starting Wednesday, the administration will hold a special 2-week application period for businesses with fewer than 20 employees to allow lenders to focus on helping the smallest of companies. Additionally, $1 billion will be set aside to help sole proprietors and independent contractors. And it's also clarifying rules allowing non-citizen legal residents to apply to the program.
The American Rescue Plan of 2021 is reported to the House of Representatives with a favorable recommendation.
The president's $1.9 trillion relief plan passed out of the House Budget Committee today, setting the stage for a possible full vote in the House by the end of the week.
And Natalie Brand joins me now from the White House. Hi there, Natalie. So President Biden encouraged Americans to resist becoming numb as the COVID-19 death toll surpassed 500,000 in the U.S. Monday. What else is the president calling on Americans to do in order to get through this pandemic?
Yeah, the president tonight in his remarks urged Americans to, of course, remember the lives lost, but also to act and to remain vigilant, stressing the health safety precautions that we have been trying to take all along, from social distancing to mask wearing. He also urged people to get vaccinated when they are eligible. And that's a message that we have heard from the administration, especially this week, trying to address vaccine hesitancy. Those who may have concerns about the vaccine, they are urging Americans to please get vaccinated when it's time, and also noting today during other COVID-related briefings and forums that perhaps Americans need more than just one opportunity for a vaccine appointment to get that vaccine when they are ready, Elaine.
Meantime, the House is set to pass President Biden's COVID relief package this week. What's expected to happen after the bill is sent to the Senate? Should we expect any hang-ups?
Well, during that hearing today, the markup hearing in the House Budget Committee, we saw the partisan divide among lawmakers over this legislation. No Republicans supported that bill moving forward. No Republicans on that committee. Of course, we've heard Republican lawmakers call for more targeted relief. They call the Democratic bill a, quote, partisan wish list, rather, whereas Democratic lawmakers argue that aggressive, bold action is needed now, and that it's not the time for wait and see. Now, interesting to note that one provision that is in the House bill is the $15 minimum wage. And so we'll have to see once it's expected to reach the Senate, expected to pass along party lines later this week out of the House. So what happens in the Senate, where a couple of moderate Democrats have expressed some concern about the $15 minimum wage provision? And also, we're waiting to see what the Senate parliamentarian rules, because she will have to make sure that all of the provisions in the bill meet the standards of passing a bill through through reconciliation, which of course requires just a simple majority vote instead of the 60-vote threshold to overcoming a filibuster. So she'll have to go through, make sure that those provisions meet the standards of the so-called Byrd rule to pass through reconciliation. A decision on that hasn't been made yet. So once she rules on the minimum wage issue, we'll have to see what negotiations transpire to try to get some of the Democratic members and also Republicans who have concerns on board with this larger bill and all of the different provisions in it.
And Natalie, the president also announced changes to the Paycheck Protection Program, which provides aid to small businesses impacted by the pandemic. How will businesses be affected?
Well, right now the focus is trying to sign up the smallest of companies with fewer than 20 employees. And we know that during the initial rollout of the Paycheck Protection Program, while it did receive a lot of bipartisan praise, some of the smaller companies or some of the companies that didn't have relationships with their banks or with lenders felt like they got shut out or were at the back of the line. So this is an opportunity to really focus on those very small companies who maybe struggled to get help initially, and also on the independent contractors or the sole business proprietors, beauticians, home repair contractors who have struggled to get these loans. The administration says this is about improving access in an equitable manner. And a couple of other notes, the new changes will lift some of the restrictions on small business owners who had a non-fraud felony conviction in the prior year, and also those with federal student loan debt. So this is an attempt to try to get help now to folks who maybe weren't able to access that small business relief initially.
Well, we know that extreme winter weather has slowed down vaccine distribution in some areas. What has the Biden administration said about getting that back on track?
Right now, Elaine, we know that the priority is on clearing the backlog, which when we left for the weekend, we heard that backlog was 6 million doses of the COVID vaccine that was not able to get out to the sites, the vaccination clinics that needed it because of this severe winter weather. The administration and COVID response team saying in a briefing Monday that they're hoping by midweek that they can begin or really make a dent in that backlog. But they are also urging the vaccination sites to extend hours and inject more flexibility in their scheduling this week to try to make sure that they can administer the vaccines once those doses are shipped out. And of course, places in Texas still struggling to reopen those sites, Elaine.
All right, Natalie Brand at the White House. Natalie, always good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.